Hey guys, Ant here for Next Level Cheer, and today we're going to talk about arms. Okay, so this is something I've been asked to talk about through a message on our Instagram, and I think it's a really important area to cover. It can be almost a little controversial in cheer. One thing I find when I'm working with female athletes a lot is they shy away from working on arm exercises because there's that fear of getting big, bulky arms. Let me stop you right there. Talk to anybody who's ever tried to get big, bulky arms and they will tell you it is not as easy as just doing a few arm exercises. Bodybuilders and powerlifters who have to really work on arm strength will be really quick to tell you that they have to put a ton of work into their training regimen to build big muscles. That's not easy to do. It takes a lot of focus on nutrition as well as training, and it's not something you should be worried about just by adding in some arm work and some upper body training into your general training. But I do think it's something that often gets missed in the cheerleading setting, and part of that is because it's not the easiest thing to work on without equipment. There are a lot of leg exercises you can do with just body weight. There are a lot of core exercises you can do with just body weight. But when it comes to your upper body, it's tougher sometimes to find things that you can do. So this is going to be part one of 2 videos that I'm going to do on upper body strength. And I think it's really important that we break it down like that. We don't talk about arms specifically. I'm going to talk about upper body strength. When I'm building training sessions, I'm thinking about lower body, core, and upper body in general. Those are the ways I break up the body into 3 areas to consider. So this first part 1 is going to consider upper body strength in terms of tumbling. And we're going to look at just a couple of simple drills you can do, exercises to work on stability and strength in your upper body for tumbling. In part 2, we'll consider more what we can do with our upper body to improve on our stunting technique for bases and back spots especially. So if you go to your local workout gym and think about what people are doing there to work on their upper body strength, you're going to see guys doing things like bicep curls for their arms and tricep extensions that really focus on particular muscle groups and building size and strength by doing high repetitions. And then you'll see a lot of things if we want to work on our chest, like bench press and push-ups especially. Okay? Those are the real obvious ways that most people are going to work on their upper body strength. Now those curls and extensions for our arms are great for building strength, but they need equipment. You need weights to do that with, and not everybody's going to have that, I know. Same with a bench press. Push-ups, we could totally do. Everyone can do push-ups, and they're a great full body exercise. I highly recommend it is something you work on. But the problem with push-ups for cheerleaders is that we're talking about a horizontal push, that forward push, which isn't really a motion that we use very much. Okay? We don't use it a lot in tumbling or in stunting or anywhere else. So it's not necessarily a motion that we should be really focused on improving our strength in. What we do a lot in tumbling is this extension over the head. Okay? And again, we don't do a lot of pressing. We'll talk more about that in part 2 when it comes to stunting. Our real interest with improving upper body strength for tumbling is more about stability. We want to have the strength to support our body weight when we're upside down and putting weight in our hands, and we want to have stability to hold good body positions. So the best tool that we have to build that is our handstand. So handstands are great. The more time you can spend doing them, working on them, handstand walking, challenging yourself for how long you can hold with or without moving your hands. There are so many different ways to work on a handstand, and they're great. They all build that general strength, which is working towards what we want to get out of it. That's fantastic. But what if you're in lockdown right now and you don't have a ton of room to do handstands, or you don't have the confidence to just do them freestanding? You don't have mats around you to catch you if you fall. Maybe you're just restricted on space and you don't want to go falling into your TV and knocking it over and breaking things. There's ways around that. So we're going to look at some simple exercises that can simulate that overhead position in the handstand and help us build strength for our tumbling. So right now I'm going to give you 3 different levels of drills. They're going to get progressively harder, and I'm going to give you 3 different options of ways to test yourself in those drills, ways to do an exercise in these different positions, and then you can mix and match depending on your level. You're going to be able to choose where you start and then work up in difficulty through these drills. Level 1, if you like. Our simplest way to simulate that handstand, if you've watched my previous video on using yoga, if you haven't, definitely go check that out. We're going right back to there. You're going to see it's a very similar position. In there I talk about downward dog pose in yoga and how important it is to incorporate that, holding that position. We can go right to there. Okay? Whether you call it a downward dog or just a pike press on the floor, the language doesn't matter. That's what we're going to look at first. We're going to find that high pike position, which gives us an in-between to the handstand. It's a progression level. So we're putting weight through our shoulders and through our hands in that overhead position, but we're also leaving some weight in our feet that are still on the floor. So there's no balance issue really there. It's a much lower risk and lower skill version that works us towards the handstand. So if I go to that pike press position on the floor, tucking my head in between my arms, thinking about that handstand position, hands spread, shoulders tight and pushing through. It starts to feel just like that handstand position. And the closer I walk my feet in towards my hands, the higher my hips come up over my shoulders, the more challenging that position is going to be. So if you're a novice, you can start further out, it's much more gentle, and then work your way in until you're really starting to stack your hips over your shoulders or somewhere close. Now in that position, we've got options we can go through. So we've got 3 different exercises we can do. We can do shoulder taps, we can do shoulder shrugs, and ultimately we can look at doing press-ups, push-ups in that position. Okay? So if I come back to this pike press, I can go shoulder taps, and go shoulder shrugs, pushing through the floor, and I can work towards push-ups, which are not easy. That's going to be a testing exercise, doing those pike push-ups, and that's one that I do use in the gym with teams regularly. Is a really good upper body exercise. So our next progression, level 2 if you like, is to now bring that pike press and we bring our feet up high. So I'm just going to use this stool, and we're really doing the same thing, and we go through those same drills. We can go taps, and we can go shrugs, and we can ultimately work towards push-ups, which is going to be, again, quite a challenging exercise. Okay? So feet up on the box. The closer you have your hands in, the harder it's going to be. I can go to my taps, and shrugs, and push-ups. And at that point, you're essentially in a handstand. You're using the feet on the box to add stability and help. And we can do the same thing with 2 feet on the box and then lift one up straight into what I'd call a 3/4 handstand. Then you've only got that 1 foot holding you. And that makes it much more difficult, puts the emphasis on stability in your core much more, because you'll wobble side to side. So that's a really good addition as well. So then our last progression, level 3 if you like, is to start doing this in handstand. And it doesn't have to be a freestanding handstand. We can do it against a wall, that's fine. Holding that handstand against the wall, we still have those 3 options. Shoulder taps, shoulder shrugs, and push-ups. And handstand push-ups are an elite level exercise. So if you can get those, if you can get really strong in there, then you're doing extremely well. That's a high difficulty upper body strength exercise, but is a good upper level goal to work towards. If you have really good strength, if you have elite level skill, that's something you can work towards. And there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of other videos all over YouTube about handstand push-ups. So that's something you can check out if you want to. So that's just a simple set of progressions there that you can use put together. Whatever your ability is, whether you want to start in that pike press, whether you're ready to bring your feet up, once you can do all of those exercises really well, and even the pike press, shoulder taps and shrugs are pretty challenging if you're going to do high numbers of it. You'll be able to build challenging workouts just in those pike positions that will really work not just your arms, but your shoulders and down into your chest and the muscles in your upper back as well, which all contribute to that stability and strength that we want to build strong tumbling skills. So there we go. Part 1, upper body strength work that you can do at home for tumbling skills. Stay tuned for part 2 coming soon, where we'll talk more about upper body strength and how to train it in relation to stunting. In the meantime, click down the bottom, like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're enjoying the channel and you're enjoying the content, you can also support me if you want to, and support the content creation by going to buymeacoffee.com/nextlevelcheer and buy me a coffee. Say thanks. It's as simple as that. But for now, signing off. I'll see you in the next one.